Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to get right into something that's at the very core of every great school: leadership. We're going to unpack the research and find out what really truly makes a school leader effective. So let's just jump right in with a big question. If you had to pick one single thing, one factor that can totally transform a school for the better, what would you say it is? Just keep that in the back of your mind. For what feels like forever, researchers and educators have been trying to solve what I call the principal puzzle. I mean, we have got mountains of research. There's a huge 2021 report from the Wallace Foundation that confirms it. Principals have a massive impact on how well students do. Nobody's debating that part. But the how, well, that's where it all gets a little fuzzy for a lot of people. And that really gets us to the heart of the puzzle, right? Is being an amazing school leader just something you're born with? Some kind of natural charisma, a certain personality? Or is it a set of actual skills that pretty much anyone can learn, practice, and get really good at? Well, here's the cool part. It turns out the research has a surprisingly clear answer. And honestly, it's a bit of a revelation that completely changes how we should be thinking about leadership. This is where the research just cuts through all the noise. See, the myth is that it's all about personality or having some kind of natural leadership style. But the research from MCurl International found something totally different. Effective leadership actually boils down to 21 specific and, this is the most important word, learnable behaviors. And this wasn't some idea they just dreamed up overnight. The Balanced Leadership Framework is built on decades of solid work. It started way back in 2003 with a giant meta-analysis, and they've been updating it with the latest research ever since, right up to 2021. So this is a really robust, time-tested model. Okay, so what does this research-backed framework actually look like in practice? Well, it's built on 3 core components that all have to work together. Here they are. It boils down to these 3 big ideas. Number 1, having a relentless focus on what really matters. Number 2, knowing how to inspire and lead change. And number 3, cultivating what they call a purposeful community. Let's zoom in for a second on what that first and third one really mean. So when the framework says focus, we're not talking about some vague concept. It means zeroing in on these specific, super high-impact areas. A great leader makes sure there's top-notch instruction in every single classroom. A curriculum that actually makes sense from one grade to the next, real support for the whole child, and a school culture that uses data to get better. And that third piece, purposeful community, might just be the most powerful of all. It's all about building something called collective efficacy. And that's way more than just having team meetings. It's a deep, shared belief running through the entire staff that together, they have exactly what it takes to help every single kid succeed. That belief? It's an incredibly powerful force. Now, you probably noticed the word balanced right in the name of the framework, and that is no accident. This next part is all about why that one word is so crucial. This quote from the original research really nails it. Being a great leader isn't just about charging forward and changing everything. It's a delicate balancing act between pushing for necessary change while also protecting the core values and culture that make the school a special place to begin with. And you see this balancing act play out in everyday decisions. A smart leader knows when to be directive, when to make a quick top-down call because time is short. But they also know when to step back and use shared leadership, bringing the whole team into the conversation for those complex problems where you absolutely need everyone's buy-in. It's not about picking one style, it's about knowing which tool to use and when. And here's where it gets even more sophisticated. An effective leader gets that the exact same new initiative can feel completely different to different people. For one teacher, it might seem like a simple, logical next step. That's what they call first-order change. But for another teacher, that same change could feel like a massive shift that challenges their entire way of doing things. That's second-order change. Being able to manage both of those perceptions at the same time, that's key. Okay, so all of this brings us to the most concrete, practical part of the entire framework. The 21 specific actions that the research proves get results. 21. That's the magic number. After all the analysis, the research found it all boils down to 21 distinct leadership behaviors that are directly tied to student achievement. And here are just a few examples to show you what we're talking about. Look at situational awareness. That's the ability to see what's really going on beneath the surface in a school and deal with issues before they explode. Now that number next to it, the effect size, is basically a score for how strongly that leadership skill is linked to better student test scores. The higher the number, the stronger the connection. So see, these aren't just nice ideas. These are actions with a proven, measurable impact. So how big is that impact, really? The research is crystal clear. When school leaders effectively carry out these 21 responsibilities, their schools see higher student achievement 95% of the time. Think about that. That correlation is, well, it's just astonishing. So what this all points to is a totally new way of thinking. Great school leadership isn't some happy accident, and it's not a mystery. It's leadership by design. And this is not just an academic theory sitting on a shelf. The Balanced Leadership Framework has been turned into a hands-on learning program that has been used to train more than 20,000 school leaders. One leader even called it the operating system that guides it all. And if you need any more proof of its credibility, the framework's findings line up perfectly with what other major respected organizations are saying, like the research from the Wallace Foundation and the national standards from the NPBEA. It's like everyone's research is pointing in the exact same direction. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. If effective leadership is really just a set of learnable skills, then creating great schools isn't a game of luck where you just hope a natural leader walks in the door. It's a matter of choice. It's the choice to intentionally develop these 21 vital skills. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If building great school leaders is something we can actually do systematically, if it's a skill that can be taught and not just a gift someone's born with, what do you think your own local school, and every school for that matter, could achieve?